Hey guys, Alex Automotive here, and today we're doing rear brakes on a 2006 Jeep Liberty. So what I did to get started was I got the car jacked up and I put jack stands just in case the jack failed, and then I'm going to remove these 5 lug nuts, which are a 19mm, unless this right here, this is a little covering that goes over a lug nut, gets corroded, then you might have to get like a 20mm. You might have to pound down the 19mm to get this lug nut off, and then you might have to take the undercoating off, which will make it look like this lug nut right here. Or you can go to the parts store and you can get new lug nuts. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off this tire and I'll show you how to remove the brakes. Alright, so I took the tire off, I got it down here, and I inspected the pads. I noticed that the inboard pad was getting really low, and the inboard pad will always get lower faster than the outboard pad, because the inboard pad is taking the pressure from the piston and pushing it against the rotor. So the inboard pad will always get lower faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this nut off, or this bolt off right here, which connects to these slide pins, and there's 2 of them right here. And then we're going to take this caliper, we're going to take it off, we're going to take the brake pads off, and then we're going to take the rotor off. So I'm going to take those 2 nuts off and I'll get back to you guys. Okay, so I got those 2 bolts off. I used a 12mm socket. So this is what it looks like after I got it off. I put the caliper to the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the rotor. And this one doesn't have a parking brake on it. As you see, it wasn't connected or it rusted off, because I live in a state where it rusts a lot. So then, after we get the rotor off, we're going to take our caliper. We're going to pop off these 2 pads. If I can get it one-handed, I can't. So I'm going to pop these 2 pads off, and I'm going to show you how I clean it, where I grease it, and how to put it all back together. So stay tuned. Well, I got both pads out. Now, for the outboard pad, I had to bend these tabs just a little bit to help it slide off the rotor. And then this one, I just pulled it right out of the piston. So what I'm going to do now to clean it is these 2 button-up clips right here. There's one right here and one right here that the pad's right on. We're going to take those off. And then I normally take a wire brush and I like to just make sure, like, clean all the rust off, make sure there's no rust on any of these where the button-up clips stay. Just inspect the pad or clean up any brake pad dust or anything. Just make sure you cover your mouth to not breathe in any of that brake dust. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grease up our little pins, our little guide pins right here. We put a little bit grease on these. We're going to clean them up with a rag. And then I got some paste that I'm going to put on. And I'm going to clean this all up, show you guys after it's clean. And then I'm going to start greasing things, so stay tuned. I got the brakes all cleaned up. I just did it real quick again. Did a wire brush up here, got any brake stuff off. I wire brush here, got any dirt and debris and just all the brake dust that builds up here. I just wire brush these 2 down, and then I opened the new box of pads, and I verified that I got the right pads to go on this car. And the kit I got came with new button clips to molt up right here, so I do not have to use the old ones. So now, before we start getting started, we're gonna have to grab something to press this piston in. I normally grab just a big pair of vice grips or channel locks, and I sit here and I just press this in. And we want to be careful. We gotta make sure we check our brake fluid level, so once we start pressing this in, we're not gonna spill any brake fluid inside the car or just on the ground. So we just want to check that, make sure it's at a good level to where we can press this piston in. So once we check the brake fluid level, make sure we don't overfull, and we press this piston in, and I'll show you how to put it together after I press that piston in. Underneath these button clips, I put a little bit of grease on top of each one of these, and then with the slide pins, I put just a little bit of grease on there. And the grease I'm using today is actually just anti-seize lubricant compound. This is the copper anti-seize, so it's actually meant for brakes and all that. So I just put it a little bit there again, there, and each on the side pins. So now I'm going to take both my new pads, I'm going to put them on the caliper, and then I'm going to mount it back up right there. But before you do that, you actually got to put the new rotor on. So I'm going to get the new rotor, I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so I got the rotor on. I got the caliper back together. I had to install the inboard pad first onto the caliper, and then I had to install the outboard pad onto the bracket. And then I slid them both together. I put my guide pins in, I lined them up, make sure they lined up and they go in nice and smoothly so I didn't cross thread them. And then I'm going to verify that this brake line right here isn't twisted or kinked anywhere, and which it's not. It's nice and smooth, because you don't want to twist this line because you can cause problems with your brakes, cause the car to pull in one direction or the other. And I mean, this is how you install brakes in a 2002 to 2007 Jeep Liberty. Now, this is a rear, and it's both the same for left or right rear. So once you get all of them together, you want to make sure you hit the brake pedal before you move the car. If not, it won't brake as well. And then once you do that, get your tire, put it on, and then torque the tire down to manufacturer specification. And then if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And then hit the bell for any notifications. I'll be doing more videos like this. I'll be working on a bunch of different cars with whatever problems they have. So if you like the video, please just leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. Thank you, and have a great day.